mic'd up with Mikey Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there. He's punching me in the stomach. Like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think I'm going to practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you gonna bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it.
The SEC is God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now.
Hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Wednesday, May 7th. We are back. We made it. Technical difficulties are past us. They are a thing of the past. Who said we need Lloyd to have a good show? We are back live. We appreciate everybody tuning in, sticking with us. I hope everybody stayed dry with this crazy rain that we had today. Now the sun is out. Hopefully, it's going to be sunny throughout the course of this weekend, and the rain that is in the forecast goes away. We have a big show for you today. Obviously, a lot of LSU baseball conversation, a lot of conversation over the weekend. Obviously, LSU loses a hard-fought series at Texas A&M. Not the most ideal situation, but all 3 games could have gone either way. They end up going 1-2 on the weekend. They are back at it this weekend at home against Arkansas, against a really tough opponent, arguably the most complete team in the SEC, maybe in the country. But like any weekend in the SEC, it's going to be a tough task. 2 weeks to go. There's going to be a lot of movement through the last 6 games of the SEC season. Then you have the SEC tournament, and then obviously postseason baseball, which is when it gets really interesting. But we're going to have all those conversations. We're going to go around the SEC. It's Ask Mikey and Mitch Wednesday, so we have some questions from the socials. If you have questions as the show goes on, throw them in the chat. Producer Christian, pinch hitting for Lloyd.
Yeah, it's
You've been good. We're figuring it out on the fly.
It's awkward back here.
Yeah, it's okay.
Not used to it at all. It's the same setup and everything, but just some ins and outs that we're getting to know right now.
And look, Lloyd's been available. He's been on call. Jay Mitch is out in Texas. Lloyd is still on the show, correct?
Yeah, Lloyd too.
From London. Lloyd is the world traveler. Lloyd, welcome to the show, buddy. Look at him. Looking good. Looking good over there in London. We don't need you. We don't need you to have a show. Wally Pitt, baby.
Yeah, look at that.
Wally Pitt.
Yeah, Monday seemed like it was a real Wally Pitt day.
Yeah, we were grinding through it. Walk me through London. How's it been? How's the weather? What's on the agenda? What have you done? I saw that you went through a little history tour today of Winston Churchill. Great man.
Or they didn't offer them unless you wanted to buy one for 30 pounds. Not dollars.
What is that? What is that equivalent to pounds? I mean, what is that equivalent to dollars? What's pounds equivalent to dollar?
1.25. And
Okay.
apparently the coins are also dollars. And so I was tipping people way too much.
Okay, well, they're very happy.
I thought they were like pennies and quarters.
Look at this
Turns
tourist.
out not the case. So
Look at this
I was
tourist.
just giving out.
You're just look at the kitchen.
Look at that crib.
Look what you got going. Welcome to my crib. You look good.
Yeah, this is,
You look good.
this is like it's like Nelly, except we're not gonna do meth.
Yeah, well, yeah, don't do that. What time is it over there in London?
It is 12:06 a.m. So I'm actually on Thursday.
You're a day ahead. You're a time traveler.
Yeah, so if you need any bets, let me know.
Yeah.
I've already known what's happened.
You didn't see a soccer game. I thought you were gonna go see one, but you haven't seen it. I'm not gonna keep you long. I just wanted everybody to see your pretty face and see that you're alive and you did not run away and you're still part of us, part of our show.
Monday, boys. I tried my best. It was a bit confusing over here. You know, pounds and pence.
Yeah, big. Hey, look,
and mints. That's
big.
what they say.
Big move for you, Tingle and Co. You know that came out,
and
announced
I
it
missed
today.
that one.
You got your own show.
And then as it goes, of course, we couldn't after the announcement couldn't start the show the next day.
It's okay. Look, you've been through that. It's part of it. It's all part of it.
No technical difficulties. They follow us around.
It's all part of it. Well, I just want everybody to see your pretty face, Lloyd, and you can go and hang out. I think y'all are having a little movie night right now, getting ready for the long day. It is tomorrow. When are you coming back?
Johnson, huh? Worst coach of all time?
Who?
Jay Johnson, worst coach of all time?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. We're gonna get into that. I don't think the beauty of this is Christian's not gonna keep reading the same questions that you keep reading to us every Wednesday on Ask Mikey and Mitch.
Well, I'm just wondering if you set up Zach Cowan to go into the 8th and the 9th, and what more do you expect?
When you're up by 2 runs and you have 4 outs to go and you have your best bullpen guy, I mean, I think that is the move.
Have a closer that has a sub-0 ERA, and
Yeah.
that's the wrong move?
Yeah, that would be the move. That is usually the move. Didn't work out. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, it was bound to happen at some point. My next question is apparently Anthony Einson, he probably threw too many pitches, so look out for that next week.
Yeah. It's 115, I think, or something around those. That's too many. Can't do that. Not good enough.
Can't throw a complete game and win. That'd be terrible.
Performance of a lifetime. Yeah, a lot of negativity out there, but it's okay. It's okay. You got a big weekend this weekend.
I get Twitter out here. Don't you worry.
I know. It's X. It's not Twitter. It's X. But
oh yeah.
Yeah, but
it's about to get X-nated from me looking at it.
I thought you were going a whole different route with that one, but never mind.
X and XX.
Yeah, there you go. Now we're back.
You pervert.
Now we're back. Lloyd, Jay, do you have anything to say to Lloyd?
Isn't mom like right around the corner? Like, isn't she right around there? My God, bro,
Mama Courtney out there somewhere.
You are doing a lot.
Yeah, when does he not do a lot? But Lloyd, we'll have you back. You come back over the weekend, so Lloyd will be back in his usual seat on Monday, and hopefully that catches one of the games this weekend. Lloyd, if you're still there, enjoy the rest of your London trip. Bring us back a souvenir for the studio.
Absolutely, I got a Big Ben butt plug with your name on it. But before I go,
Oh, okay.
Not a single Go Tigers. I've been wearing this. I've been wearing the Mik'd up shirt. Nothing. We're not global yet.
We're not global yet. We're working on it. We'll get there soon enough. Look, hey, we're international today. You're on there. We got somebody on the show internationally right now. We're good. So that's how it starts. Go down and scream it from the alleyways in London.
Oh, you want to see them?
Sure. Let's show everybody the alleyway, the very London.
All right. Real quick before I go.
Great angle on your face, by the way. Oh, mirror. And
Jack the Ripper's here.
now we're here. Look at that.
Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful. The beautiful streets of London.
It's something.
It's something. It is. I'm sure you're ready to get back home to get better food, but we'll talk about that when you get back and you can recap your entire trip. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We love you. Have a great night. Tell everybody we us at Mik'd Up said hello. I don't know if you can hear us anymore. But all right, let's get to the sports conversation. We spoke about the games this weekend, right? Jared, I want you to jump in on this. Obviously, me and you have been talking a little bit about this. Obviously the weekend did not go the way LSU wanted the weekend to go, but it wasn't like LSU got run off the field. Like all three games could have gone either way. They could have easily swept. They could have gotten swept. They could have won the series. They're very highly contested. Every weekend from here on out, that's a super regional type game, right? A&M's a really good team. They have a really good pitching staff, right? Whether people want to admit that or not, they have a really good pitching staff. Numbers-wise, back that up. And those guys did everything that they needed to do to keep LSU offense at bay. Now, over the last month, I get it. LSU's offense has not been as good as people want them to be. I think that's not going to continue to happen, but they're going to get out of it. They have to get out of it, but give some credit to A&M. A&M came out there, threw the ball really well, mixed and matched velos, location. They didn't get behind in counts, didn't get guys on base, and they did what they needed to do to win games and got the big hit at the end of the game 3 to win. Give me your take on the weekend, and is LSU doomed and not going to make any type of run in the postseason?
I thought you saw big boy baseball this past weekend, man. You got to remember, everyone. We want to sit here and kind of look at what A&M did pretty much through the first half of the year. Everyone goes through their woes and their struggles at some point of the year. Seems to be that this team is kind of hitting their stride and playing a lot better. And they're kind of doing it at the right time you want to do it. You got to remember, they went to at the time, #1 Tennessee and beat them on the road after getting drummed and 10-run ruled in game 1 of that series, right? And then they go on the road again to another #1 team in the country and literally were basically in 3 one-run ball games there and just happened to lose them all. So then you would expect a team like that to go home, bringing in a top 5 team and play quality baseball. Well, they did just that. It was low-scoring, high contest. That was good baseball played all weekend. It did not go LSU's favor. Yes, they are in quote-unquote their little bit of a funk, if you want to call it that, but they're also playing great competition. So You got to understand that as well, right? And you kind of they're going through their funk. Yes, we all want to see them get to the other side of it, but when they're in their funk, remember this, when they're in their funk, look at the type of ball games that they're playing while they're in their funk. They are not getting run out of the gym. They're not in games they're not playing games and never in them from the start. They played 3 great ball games on the road in a hostile environment against a damn good ball club. And they had a chance to win all 3 of them. So that's where I want my team when they're not playing their best. Now, admittedly so, I think we all want to see them get over that hump, right? Get to that next spot, get to where you start playing well again, starting feeling good, and it's getting to be that time of the year where you need to be there. But let's acknowledge it for what it was, which we knew they were going to go there. They were going to play a team that it's a rival, right? We don't like them. They don't like us. That's how their fan base acts as well. So you knew it was going to be hostile. You knew that if they continued to play the way that they had been playing, they were going to pitch it well. They were going to play well. They got some tough outs in the lineup, and those things came to fruition, right?
Yeah.
And so I take solace in the fact that Cade goes out there. He threw well on Friday night. He threw well in game 1.
Yeah.
We lose. Go out there on Saturday. You get Einstein. He threw very well. I would say his best outing of the season. And I do mean, and I'm not just saying that just because he got to the complete game, but he got into, I believe, the 9th with right at or right below 100 pitches.
Yep.
So he was efficient. He still struck out almost 15, I believe, in the game. By far his best outing in the game. And we also saw him have a game where I think he had 14 strikeouts early in the year. You got great pitching there. You got good enough pitching. Like, it wasn't his sharpest, but I'm not surprised after his longest outing the week before in Case and Evans. But he kept you in the ball game, and it still was another low-scoring ball game. There are so many things to look up towards. Now we just need him to come out and get hot again and get going.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that you mentioned the pitching staff. And look, obviously the offense, everybody wants to talk about that, and they want to talk about them not scoring enough runs. I think that is just beating a dead horse. I think they know that. They understand that. But what I want to focus on is that pitching staff, right? Obviously, Kate Anderson threw really well. Ianson threw really well. People are giving Cowan a hard time. He's been lights out all year. Like, he has been your best guy out of the pen, arguably between him and Case and Evans, all year, right? So when you have an opportunity to put him in the game with a 2-run lead in game 3, that's what you're hoping for. The one thing that hasn't been consistent with this pitching staff throughout the course of the year is guys coming out of the bullpen not named Zach Cowan and not named Case and Evans and doing their job and getting through these innings. I think this weekend you saw that. You saw the matchups on Sunday and the guys coming in for one out and getting that guy out. You saw Chase Shores come in. Yeah, he struggled his first inning, didn't give up a run, was able to get out the inning, and then he came back out and was lights out. You saw Maverick Rizzi look lights out. So to me, if you're gonna try to look at all the negative stuff, we have to go and highlight some of the stuff that was positive that has not been as consistent as we had hoped throughout the course of the year. And that's those guys, the other guys coming out of the bullpen and matching up and doing what their job is, and that's getting the outs and getting to the next guy in the bullpen. I thought LSU did that really well and, put themselves in a position to win. Obviously, one pitch decided the game, right? And everybody wants to give Cowan, give him a hard time. He did his job. He gave up. Baseball happened at the end of that game, right? Lavalette hit a ball that was 15 miles an hour off the bat, and it was placed in the perfect spot, and he was able to beat it out, and that gave him an RBI. And then one big swing, and that's what ended the game. And that happens sometimes. And what you got to do is you got to respond to that, and you got to get back out there and play. Obviously, game last night got rained out, and then you move on to Arkansas, which is going to be a pivotal matchup for both teams. And we're going to get into the SEC, the standings throughout the course of this show, but there's 5 teams that are vying for the top four spots in the SEC. Texas is obviously the number 1 team in the SEC right now. They're 2 games ahead of Arkansas. But Texas has to play Florida, and they have to go to Oklahoma to end the season. Arkansas has got the hardest schedule. They got to go to LSU, and I believe they play another top-tier team at the end of the season. They play Tennessee to end the season, right? So they get Tennessee at home. Georgia, they have their own struggles. So it's going to be a battle throughout the course of the last 6 games. And 19 wins probably guarantees you a super regional host, maybe 18 this year, but 19 wins will guarantee you a super regional host. So LSU, as much as people want to say that they're dead and gone, they're right where they need to be, and they have everything in front of them, and they have the ability to right the ship this weekend.
I also want to bring this up too, because before we go forward and talk about, I guess, around the league a little bit and kind of where this thing is. Like, I kind of want to go back and revisit that Sunday game. Like,
Yep.
I saw a lot of the conversation around, like, why would you take out Chase Shores in that situation and all of this, and he was pitching well and doing this and getting these outs and all of that stuff. I understand that, and we can sit here and say that, and we can sit here and talk about the 15-mile-an-hour ball that Jace Lavalette finally put in play and gets on base. But if I just told you that in a 1-1 series in a rubber match on Sunday, going into, I want to say what, the 9th? Yeah. That I was going to throw a Zach Cowan on the mound with a 2-run lead with a microscopic ERA to win a series, there wouldn't be a single person that would say, "No, I don't want that situation." Right. So when that situation arises, we can't sit here and say, "Well, why did we take out this and why did we do this?" That doesn't work. I think everybody in that dugout, I think everybody on that field that had purple and gold on at that point felt great about the situation of having Zach Cowan coming to the game right there. Got, right? Baseball happens. He's not going to be perfect. Where the problem will rise is if going forward he allows this to affect the mindset and how he's done so far, which I don't suspect will happen. But in that situation, man, I'm very okay with where that thing got to. It just didn't play out our way.
100%. And, I think that, the other conversation was the tinkering of the lineup, right? The change of the lineup, right? And I think that's a conversation that we and you are having. And it's like, what is Jay doing? Why is he doing all this stuff? Listen, I understand coaches do this all the time. They tinker with lineups. They move guys around to provide a spark, so to say, with this lineup and get some stuff going, right? I understand that, and he knows these guys better than we know these guys. But looking at it, I don't mind the tinkering. It was who he tinkered with and where he moved them that was like, okay, maybe I would have thought as a player thought differently, but I'm not a coach, and so I am going based off of what a player would think of, right? Instead of moving Curry out to the 4-hole, which he's a guy that gets on base, and instead of moving Milam down to the 8-hole, maybe let's try to get Milam up in the lineup at 1 or 2 and provide a spark to him that could potentially provide a spark to the offense. If Milam starts swinging it better, that instantly gives a spark. Maybe bringing him up to the top of the lineup would give them a little bit different confidence. I'm not saying Jay was wrong in it. I'm just saying that if we're going to have a conversation about it, that was the conversation that was the piece that kind of stuck out to me.
Yeah, so the Milam conversation to me it's an interesting one, right? And you and I had this conversation, and the conversation being, look, we've never on camera or off camera had this conversation with Jay. So I have zero clue as to how he looks at the slumping, if you want to call it slumping, I don't even know, however you want to call it. The player that may be at the moment not playing his best. I don't know how he approaches that situation. Honestly, I don't even know if he would truly give us that information. But what I am saying is that you and I, from playing the game, from being around it, and from seeing these situations, we agreed in a sense that from players, the player perspective and how players look at it and also how pitchers look at it as well, like when you have a guy that you know has been a very productive ball player and you feel like, hey, that dude can hit, what we've seen and what we've talked to other guys about is when those guys get moved down in the lineup, I don't think pitchers look at him and sit there and say, all right, I'm at the bottom half of the lineup, let me just feed it, and I don't have to be quote-unquote careful, and I can just kind of go right over the plate and do what I want. They look at guys that they don't feel like are up to the challenge as that. Not guys that they know, like, you're not about to get out of this slump against me because I know what you're capable of. I'm not having that here. So, like, it almost kind of works reverse and I said if, that was Jay's idea in the sense of let me move him down. Maybe you get more fastballs. Maybe you get more pitches to hit. I truly think that plays against guys that you know and have a history of being productive and honestly dangerous, right? I don't think those guys do well in those situations because I don't think other teams look at them in that situation and say, bottom of the lineup, no big deal, let me go right at them. I think they understand, nah, you still gonna get my best shit because I know who you are and I know what you can do and you're not getting out of that slump against me. Not happening.
100%. And that's a feel thing from the coaching staff. That's seeing those guys, I'm not questioning his decisions. I'm just talking about it from a former player standpoint. And, to get where you need to get to, the guys that you rely on have got to perform, right? And Milam is that guy, and he's going to perform. He has been in kind of a little bit of a rut, but last year at this time of the year is when he really took off. And I'm hoping that we see that, and I thought maybe a little bit of a boost, maybe the top of the lineup would have kind of sparked him to put himself in a better spot, right? But, they didn't do that, and that's okay. They lost. That's okay. They have 15 wins in conference play. 19 is probably guarantees them a national seed. Definitely guarantees them. 18, there's a conversation.
Even with the Missouri loss?
They don't have a Missouri loss.
Or I'm sorry, the Missouri wins. If you count the Missouri
LSU?
wins, would that lower their total in the national media? Oh, I know they swept Missouri, but would the national media count that against them? Like, instead of having 19 wins, would they have 16 wins?
No, I don't think so because you have to play what's on your schedule, and that's not, that's not their. They didn't schedule. It wasn't like they scheduled a bunch of they won like a midweek game against Missouri. That it's SEC, right? There's 24 other teams that have beaten Missouri, or 20. There's 21 other games that Missouri lost in the SEC that weren't LSU, right? And so, I don't think in the national media's eyes that's going to affect them in the national seat, because they got to play South Carolina too on the road, which obviously they're not playing really well right now. But I think at the end of the day, 19 wins is 19 wins in conference, and I think that's going to carry a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 100% going to carry a lot of weight. I think you get to 19 wins, you almost definitely for sure are sitting there as a national seed, right? But if you're sitting there with 15 right now, let's just say you go 3-3 over the next 6. I think 18, especially with you winning both of these series, well, you can't win both of the series and have them. Let's say you lose the one at home against what is now everybody sees it again as that Arkansas team, especially what they were just able to do. Like, say you lose this series, but you don't get swept, and then you sweep the next series or you win that series. I think you sit in a spot with 18 wins still, this team and this resume in this conference, especially if you maybe win a game or two.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
I think this team still sits there at 18 and is almost in pretty damn good shape to get a national seed.
So I think
18 with this team has a very strong chance of still getting a national seed, as opposed to maybe some other years you may truly be on the cusp of we don't know.
Yeah, I think that 18 wins will put you on the bubble, but maybe on the outside looking in. I think if you go in the SEC tournament and you win a game or two, I think that locks you in. I think 19 wins in the 19 regular season wins get you in without having to win a game in Hoover. And the other thing is, if you go and you end up being the top 4 teams in the SEC, you get that double bye in Hoover, and so you're either playing on Thursday or Friday, depending on what seed you get. And to me, that's important because that kind of keeps you on that same pitching rotation as far as Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whatever that may be. You're not playing on a Wednesday where you're not used to doing that throughout the course of the year. But I think 4 wins over the next 6 games is extremely reasonable, right? I mean, I think that, I think winning at home against Arkansas would be obviously the bigger jump. Hey, you get those 2 wins at home, that's going to put you in a position where, you're definitely going to host because you're not expecting to lose the series on the road against South Carolina. But I think 19 wins, I think 4 out of the next 6 is very, very, very reasonable. I wouldn't say guaranteed, but I would put a lot of money on LSU winning 4 out of the next 6.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, the schedule boils down to these last 2 series where you have a chance to protect your home field against a very highly ranked and very competent opponent. If you're able to do that and you win a series, I think that alone kind of puts you in a spot where just as long as you don't go up to South Carolina in the season in a horrible note, you're going to be there as a national seed because of some of the wins you've already had this year.
Yeah, I agree. And look, this weekend's going to be a grind, right? You're facing the best lineup in the SEC, one of the best lineups in the country, right? They have the highest average. They have 5 guys that have 11-plus homers and another 3 guys that have 8 or 9 homers. So you have 8 of your top 9 hitters all almost have double-digit homers. They're swinging the shit out of it. You have 5 guys that are hitting over 300, 3 guys that are hitting over 350. And so that lineup is going to be the best lineup that LSU has faced all year. It's going to be the biggest challenge for the pitching staff, for them to go out there and pitch the way they need to pitch to be able to keep the runs down, right? And look, Arkansas's pitching staff is really good too. I mean, you have Zach Root, who had probably his best outing of the year last weekend, right? And then you have the Gabe Gackle kid, who was, I think they moved him out of his initial rotation.
He was their Casey Evans last year.
Yeah.
And now they've moved him back to the pen recently.
They moved him back to the pen. That's right. He was a starter. They moved him back to the pen.
Yeah.
But you got Zach Root on Friday. He's their ace. And so it's gonna be a challenge top to bottom for LSU, offensively and defensively. And with an offense that as potent as Arkansas, I'm not saying they're going to go and score 10 runs a game, but they're going to score some runs, right? They're going to figure out a way to cross the plate, and LSU's going to have to figure out a way, one, to keep them at bay and not let it get away from them, but they're also going to have to figure out how to stay tit for tat with them and score some runs as well.
Look, I mean, LSU has played literally a third of an inning more than Arkansas has played this year, and the two ERAs of the two clubs are literally by 1 point difference.
Yeah.
Right? LSU's sitting right in front of them. So I think, for me, it's pretty easy when you talk about the offense that they have and the guys like Davilan and Koziel and Iredale and all these guys that have really, and the two Lloyd brothers who have really done it in that lineup, you're going to have to swing the bats this weekend. Like, you have to come out of your rut. You have to swing the bats early and often, and you're going to have to be authoritative in how you actually have an offensive game plan in the season. I mean, in this series. That's really what it's going to come down to. You're kind of crazy if you think you're going to go into this weekend and keep runs at a premium with an offense like that. So you're going to have to find ways to push runs across home plate, whether that be by small ball, whether that be by the long ball, however you're choosing to do it and however you get it done. It's got to happen offensively this weekend for LSU if they're going to go out and win this series at home.
100%. And, like I said, they are right now sitting at, I think, fourth in the SEC. They're tied with Georgia at 15-9, right? Arkansas 17-7, and Texas is 19-5. Texas is playing maybe the hottest team in the country this weekend in Florida, and Arkansas has got LSU and Tennessee back-to-back weekends. So it's going to come down to the wire, and I'm saying this because I want to transition into what that looks like for the stretch run of the SEC. Right, you have a lot of teams that are vying for the top four spots in the SEC. You feel like if you finish in the top four of the regular season of the SEC, you're probably going to be a national seed. That would be the consensus, unless there's a team that has a very high RPI and they fall in like the 5th or 6th spot and they make that run in the SEC tournament, and then they kind of maybe overtake somebody that maybe shouldn't be in the top 4 seed. I don't know, but the top 4 seeds in the SEC. As it stands right now, Texas, Arkansas, Georgia, LSU, all seem like they're national seeds. Obviously, Tennessee right behind them. But how do you see that shaking out? Like, let's talk through this like stretch run, because it's going to be very interesting and competitive, and every game is going to matter from here on out.
Yeah, so it's interesting, man, and this is kind of what the SEC is, and there is there's some other teams, like we're talking about those top 4 seeds, which could possibly be the national seeds. Man, I'm still looking at teams like Vanderbilt, which they are starting to swing the bat a lot better through the month, like the back end of April and now heading into May. So they're with the pitching staff that they have, who also has an ERA that's under 4. You start to sit here and look at them and like, can they start to make a run? Will they get hot? Can they start to, and if they even have to go on the road, that kind of a pitching staff travels. So you got teams like that. You got teams like A&M, and we know how talented they are. And they're obviously getting hot. They've beat 2 very good ball clubs. They beat Tennessee on the road. They've come and beat LSU at home. They beat some good ball clubs, right? So you got series like that they've been able to win. So in short series, they can get the job done as well. But then you also sitting there, you're like, well, Mississippi State's getting hot. Where are they? You're also sitting there, and you're like, well, Florida, they're one of the hottest teams right now. They may be finding themselves as one of the last teams in, but if they get in, do they do what they've done the last year? I mean, they did it last year. 13-17 going into the SEC tournament, win a couple games, get in as one of the last teams in, and they make a run. So there's teams in the SEC at this point where we know I expect this to be a very strong showing of SEC teams once they get into the playoffs. And I do see a lot of these teams that are at, quote-unquote, sitting on the cusp, quote-unquote, not really at the top of this thing, if you want to call it that. They could be the ones really making a run here.
Yeah. And look, I'm looking at the schedules, right? Like, Texas they have Florida, and then they go to Oklahoma to finish. That's their last 2 series. Arkansas is at LSU and then at home against Tennessee. Georgia is at Alabama, and then at home against Texas A&M, who's playing really good, right? LSU at home against Arkansas, then on the road against South Carolina. Tennessee's got Vanderbilt and Arkansas to finish out the year. So a lot of those teams that are jockeying for these positions are playing extremely hard schedules in the stretch run. I don't want to say LSU's is the easiest because Arkansas is a top team in the country, but they end with South Carolina compared to the other 4 or 5 teams that don't end with a team like that. And so I think LSU, if they go and take care of business this weekend, puts themselves in a really good spot to be at the top of the SEC. I'm not saying win it, but be at the top of the SEC when it's all said and done.
Yeah, they do. And, like, once again, there's only going to be one team that wins the SEC. I think everyone puts a real premium on trying to win the conference in the regular season. But, once I talked about it before, you take the regular season, you bring all these teams in the Hoover, let them duke it out, teams get to the end. These teams that we're talking about that are not 1, 2, and 3 or 1, 2, 3, and 4 right now in the SEC poll, they got serious chance to make runs because we know what kind of talent they have. We know what kind of pedigree they have. We know what Vanderbilt's done in the past in the postseason, what Florida's done in the past in the postseason. We know who A&M was supposed to be the start of the year. This is going to be a very competitive back end of the year, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and look, don't forget, 2023, arguably one of the best teams ever, finished 4th in the SEC in the regular season, 19 and 10. So you don't have to win the SEC to go out and win the national championship. It's nice to have it on as a resume builder, but you don't have to. SEC is good enough to where you don't have to win.
It's not only nice too. Like let's tell the truth. Like, and that so people can understand. Like that's how hard the league is. But that's probably one of the first things you come together as in the fall as a team, and you start meeting, and you start putting goals on the board. Winning the SEC regular season championship is very much goal number 1 because that puts you in a spot to control your destiny going forward.
Yeah.
Right. So like that's one of the things you want to do. Now, if you can't do it, it's not end all be all. But it's one of the first things you put up there as a goal.
Yeah. Last 6 games, what do you think LSU goes?
3-3, 4-2.
Yeah,
I think that's what they need to go.
Yeah, I think
they do it, and I think they need to go. And if they can't do that, obviously they will still get into the tournament. But you're putting yourself in a tough spot because now you're gonna have to go on the road and do it. And not saying that you can't. It's just the cards are stacked against you. We saw it last year. I think they have that series at home against UNC. It's probably a different outcome, but you got to go there in their environment, in their situation where they're comfortable at. It's tough to beat them twice like that.
Yeah, I think I like 4-2. I like them. I like them at least getting a sweep on the road at South Carolina, and sneaking one game at worst at home. So,
and I'll be honest with you, man. Like I personally right now, I don't truly subscribe to sweeping 3 on the road in South Carolina. Like that team's gonna be playing for something. You really, truly, you want to and you need to just try to win both of these series. Like I think
for sure.
If you're able to do that, that's like where you need to be, and that puts you at that 4-1.
Yeah, no doubt. You can't rely on the sweep. Now, I'm not saying that, but I think that if you win this weekend against Arkansas, you put yourself in a position going into the last weekend of the series. Maybe you put yourself in a spot to where if Texas ends up slipping up, you end up in a spot where you can back into this thing. Not saying that's the end all be all, but it's gonna be you're still gonna be playing for something at the back half of the year. But the first order of business is winning the series this weekend against a really good team.
Yeah. 100%.
We have a sprint today, hard out at 7:15. So let's get to the Ask Mikey and Mitch. Before we get to the Ask Mikey and Mitch, actually, this Ask Mikey and Mitch segment is brought to you by our newest sponsor, Bocock Brothers Cigars. You see them right here now. This beautiful box of cigars, very tasty stogies. If you just like a nice casual cigar in the back of your house watching the game over the weekend, it's a great thing to do. If you want a victory cigar after LSU continues to make this run and win some games this weekend, it's also a great thing. These boxes are beautiful. If you look at this one, you look at that one, those two up there, you got the LSU pennies. You have not just cigars, you have a box that can go nice on a shelf. It can be great gifts to clients or family and friends. It is a wonderful item to buy. The cigars are very good. They're very high quality, high-end cigars. We had some a couple weekends ago against Tennessee. We'll have some again this weekend at our tailgate for the Arkansas weekend. if it's something that you want to dabble in. Bocock Brothers Cigars. It's Bocock. You can go get them at lsucigars.com. Look at that. Nice little lighter in there as well. You can go get them at lsucigars.com. When you check out, you can buy as many as you want. As many as you want. When you check out, though, make sure you type in Mik'd Up 15, MIKD UP 15 for 15% off of your order, which comes in handy when you start buying a bunch of boxes for people who may like cigars. So, Bocock Brothers Cigars, they are the first tobacco company to be licensed in all of college sports. So they're trend-setting and
currently the only.
The only. First and only. They are a trendsetter, and they make a great product. Go check them out, Bocock Brothers Cigars or lsucigars.com. Type in Mik'd Up 15 for 15% off. All right, Ask Mikey and Mitch, brought to you by Bocock Brothers Cigars. We got a bunch of questions. Obviously, we had some questions from we have some questions in the chat, I'd imagine. We also have some questions from Twitter. Christian, this is Lloyd. This is Lloyd's time to shine on the show. So this is your time to shine. Go ahead and read me some of the questions.
All right. Well, the one I just see from Dylan Virgutz. Ask Mikey and Mitch. Not saying this is the cause of the slump. Hold on. Not saying this is the cause of the slump, but your opinion on LSU having to use Marucci. Feel like the bats other teams get to use are hotter. Coincidence or no? I feel like that's a pretty easy question to answer, but I'd like to hear your take on it.
So I don't believe the bats are the issue.
Yeah.
If there are other bats hotter, maybe. I mean, I think that I'm not saying Marucci is the hottest bats out there. Some bats may be hotter, but that is not the reason why they're not hitting. Like it's not like they're using the 2011 BB Core bats compared to everybody else using the new bats. Like that's not the issue that they're not hitting.
Want another one?
No, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, seemed to be pretty hot and working pretty well when they were swinging it at the top of the league and one of the best offenses in the country. I just think you go through those ruts in the season, you go through those tough moments, and great teams find their way out of them and continue trudging along. They just have to find their way out of it.
Perfect time to find it, too. Last 2 weekends of the year, right into the postseason.
All right. Ask Mikey and Mitch, with the struggles at the plate, do you think switching it up and swinging earlier in the count instead of waiting until there's 2 strikes would help?
Listen, I always subscribe to the approach of being aggressive but selectively aggressive, right? I think you go up there with a plan, you be aggressive within your plan. That doesn't mean just swinging early just to swing early. That just swinging early in the count, being aggressive early in the count, doesn't automatically mean you're going to get a hit. I think you have a plan up there, and you aggressively attack your plan. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, like being aggressive is obviously the number one thing you really need to be a good hitter, but you also can't be ignorantly aggressive, right? Just because you're struggling doesn't mean you need to swing early or more. You may be a guy that needs to swing a little bit less. You may be the guy that needs to see a couple pitches. You may be the guy that needs to track to get himself back on. Sometimes you got to take a step back before you can go, or a step back before you can go 2 steps forward. And some of that kind of goes that way. Like at the end of the day, yes, you still have to find a way to be aggressive, but we can't just go out there and start swinging ourselves in the outs. And next thing you know, every starter we're facing is going deep into the game and into the 6th, and you never get to the bullpen, and all of a sudden they are dominating you and doing whatever they want to do, right? You still have to play the game. You still have to stick to your individual approach and how you choose to approach whatever arm and or whatever set of arms as a team. Like that, those are the things you need to do, and you got to go out there and execute that.
Correct.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what is y'all's concern with the LSU offense right now?
Jay, you lead it off.
4 or 5, kind of mild, right? I've told you, it's always been my take back, if you want to call it. I don't really want to call it that. Like it's always been if we can find consistent production and continue to put consistent production behind Bear in the middle of that lineup, I think that's when the lineup becomes, top tier, legitimately for me. Now, part of that is going to have to be being hot at the right time of the year, which is coming up, right? But that to me is what when I really judge this lineup, that is where I'm like, all right, this is what's going to make or break this lineup, because you got a guy who's been one of the very best in the country at getting on base. You got a guy who has been one of the very best in the country or one of the very best in LSU history at driving the ball for power, pretty much hitting right behind him. Who's protecting those guys?
Right.
Who's making sure that they are going to continue to get pitches to hit, because these guys behind them, we know are going to get the job done as well. If those guys are doing what needs to be done, this team it becomes a different ball club.
Correct. I think I'm a 5 too as well. 5. I wouldn't even go to 6. I'm about a 5. I think that, this is a stretch in the season, and guys haven't done what they want to do or what they're capable of doing, and I don't believe that they're not capable. If I was looking at a team that I didn't think was capable of getting hits and driving guys in and getting on base, I would say, yeah, I'm extremely concerned. But I've seen them do it, and I've seen them do it in spurts even in this stretch, right? Like I've seen a couple guys have, a couple good weekends, but not as a whole, not as a whole, right? Not as a team. And so I'm not overly concerned. I think you're going to see a different offense the back half, like the last stretch run of this season, and you're going to see guys like Milam start swinging it better. You're going to see guys like Dickinson, who's been steady Eddie. He hasn't been as hot as he wants to be, but he's done what he needed to do to kind of survive and stay above water. I think you see those guys start kind of taking that next step and getting hot again. Look, Fry had a good weekend. Fry's been swinging a hot bat. Hopefully you can see him continue to do that. And once those guys all start doing it together, you're going to see the offense kind of gel again.
I'll also say this, too, before we move on to the next one. You got to remember, teams that the back end of the year and or that postseason run usually tends to bring out guys and move them away from whatever their selfish goals were on the year and just really buy into winning, right? And usually the best teams are the ones that can get the most guys to do that kind of a thing. Usually the ones that have the most guys that can do that kind of a thing are guys that love playing with each other, love playing for each other. This team seems to have that.
Right.
So I think that component of it becomes large once you really get to this part of the year. We'll see if it actually comes to fruition at this point.
Next question. Next one. What takes place between coaches/hitters during the week leading up to a conference series to address slumps? So he's asking about a slump.
Yep, this is from Cole Avery.
Yep.
Cole Avery. I'm looking at it right now.
Approaches, individual meetings, film, cage work.
I like this question. This is I like the process of this thing. Question is, what takes place between coaches, hitters during week leading up to conference series to address slumps, analyze approaches, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I think all of the above, right? I think it's, hey, this is what these guys are doing. This is how they're attacking you. What's your approach going into the at-bat, right? Hey, what are you feeling at the plate? What do you feel like is off? This is what I'm seeing. What are you feeling? You're having this dialogue back and forth, and you're all getting on the same page. It's not, hey, as a coach, this is what I'm seeing that you're doing wrong. You've got to automatically change it, right? He may see something, but there's a conversation that's being had. What are you feeling? I don't know. I don't feel comfortable. I'm not seeing the ball well, whatever it may be. And the guy's like, okay, this is what I see. Let's try to figure out and get you back on track, whether it's a certain drill that gets you back right, whether it's, machine batting practice, whether it's angle batting practice, whether it's just a pure different mindset. Hey, your approach is kind of messed up right now. Let's get you back on track, hone in on the approach. Don't worry about your swing, and let's just be an athlete and lock into that and just let it happen naturally. And so there's a bunch of different things, and I think it changes from player to player depending on why they're struggling, and and then you go from there.
Yeah, I think that's a surefire way of knowing you don't have a good hitting coach or good hitting guidance is if the plan or the approach of struggling guys is literally a one-size-fits-all. It doesn't work that way. Different guys are feeling different things. Different guys are going through different things. Different guys have different things that get them back into their groove. Good coaches, good tutelage finds those ways to be able to maximize those guys in their different ways, right? It's like you got to think about like a good teacher in school, the best English teacher you ever had. Not every student is going to learn the same way. Not every student reads at the same pace. Not every student is able to bring in the information and like spit it out the same way. That really good teacher, those best teachers, if you think about how they approached and went about the classes, they taught different ways to different students because that's how you connect with different people. Yep. So it's understanding what that is, having those open conversations with those guys, because you got to remember at the end of the day, like a large battle with hitting is having confidence. Yep. And if you don't have confidence in what it is that you're going out there to do, if you don't have confidence in the work that you're putting in, you damn sure ain't about to be successful when it comes to actually getting the job done when it's me versus you. No doubt. When I get guys to get in that confident headspace again, then you can kind of get out of your way and just go see ball, hit ball, me against you, I'm on this plate and you ain't getting me out. But it's a process of getting to that, and it's finding those guys or finding the ways to get those guys in that spot and mentally to get them to perform that way.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because the last part of this question is there a mental aspect to slumping? If so, techniques to address that. And I'm laughing because that is the majority of the reason, the mental part of slumping.
Here's the slump bar. This much of it is probably physical. This much of it is mental.
Yeah, and it's just, we're all competitors and everybody wants to play well and everybody wants to do it, and you're put under a microscope. And so when you start struggling, you put pressure on yourself, and it is a mental battle. And the techniques to get through that, and it's easier said than done, you have got to simplify the game. Not necessarily, I got to simplify my swing. You've got to create a simpler game within the game. Hey, what am I going to do today? Not result-oriented as far as, I'm going to get 4 hits. It can't be that way. It's got to be, what am I going to do? What's my approach? What's my game within the game? I want to have 4 good at-bats, and I want to have 6 pitches in each at-bat. Or I want to go there, and I'm going to have, every at-bat, I want to barrel the ball up, right? And if you go and you say, or not every at-bat, I say I want to get 2 barrels this game. And you go and you get 2 line drives, or you hit a ball at 110 on the ground and a ground ball, that's a barrel. And you say, okay, you got to check that off. Or, hey, I'm going to battle through a walk. It's just, you have to have these little victories, and you take that and then you go and you build on those, and that ends up getting you out of something. Easier said than done. I'm not saying that is the easiest thing. If it was easy, I'd probably still be playing baseball. That's the truth.
I'd still be rocking it right now, baby. Hey, listen, but look, you gotta understand too. Like, I'm not saying you got to go about your everyday or every situation and everything that happens is like the even kill guy. That's not a thing that every player is going to be that way. I've seen some of the best players have that high spike in emotion when things are good, and have the low spike when it's not good. The difference maker is those guys that are able to go both or even stay in the middle, and you're able to come back closer to the middle, I guess, quicker than the rest. And then you're able to do that from day to day. So at bat to at bat, maybe pitch to pitch, result to result, you can go wherever you want to go. But the quicker you can get back to that middle ground of, man, I don't know if that guy's 4 for 4 or 0 for 4. That's those guys that seemingly whatever their ceiling is, they play closer to it. They get out of slumps quicker because you don't carry that baggage of the bad from at pitch to pitch, at bat to bat, day to day, week to week. You just get over it.
Yeah.
Those guys are the ones that figure out how to actually go through the course of a year.
No doubt.
Next one. I was going to ask,
Yeah,
actually.
go ahead.
How do the umpires affect this? Because LSU's struggling. But I think the umpires have catered to pitchers more with bigger zones.
Yep.
So how would that affect?
Or I mean, they've kind of gone both ways. They squeezed some of the pitchers this past weekend, both sides, A&M and LSU. To me, it's not about the bigger zone or the tighter zone. It's about the inconsistency of the zone.
Yeah.
As a hitter, if I know this umpire is going to be giving him 2-3 inches off the plate away, I can prepare for that. If I don't know if this guy's going to call a strike on the white line chalk and then call a ball that's on the over the middle of the plate, like, if you don't know what he's going to do, to me that affects the hitter more than him being tight or being a little bit his zone's being a little bit more expanded. The issue with the umpires is just, these guys have got to be better. They've got to take more pride in it. I know they're not trying to suck, but they are sucking, and they've got to figure out a way to be consistent with whatever they want to do. Listen, and in the big leagues, we would have the scouting report of the umpires. Hey, this guy this is what his zone looks like. He doesn't give anything inside. He gives a little bit more away. He likes to call pitches up. He'll give a little bit more up, doesn't give anything down. And you know that going in. So you're not shocked when he's doing that, and you're prepared for it.
This is where hitting, in my opinion, becomes the part that's so hard that people don't truly understand. Like, you don't get in the box and every single pitch of every single at-bat of every single game, you got the same zone.
Right.
You also get guys that go out there, hey, they're on full scholarship, and they got a chance to be first-rounders and major league players as well. They're damn good, right? And so you got to understand, like, sometimes you get in the box, and let's just say you've been struggling in the last 3 games. Say you finally feel great, you're doing well in the cage, it's going good, and then all of a sudden, you show up and you got to face, I don't know, Justin Lampkin. You show up and you got to face Ryan Prager, and he's on his game. And this umpire's a little bit wide with his own, and he's giving him a little more. And he's actually pitching and locating and executing that day. You could have actually been in the right spot to come out of your slump, where you were when you're swinging, where you are mentally. And then, damn, you just showed up against a guy who had a little bit better that day, who had a little bit more. So, like, those things are what happens. And maybe sometimes slumps, whether it's just a player and or a team, you run into all of these things getting mixed in the same pot. And it seems like you're struggling longer and or more than you actually are. And that's why it's so hard to watch sustained success. And it's so hard to watch, or so hard to see people hit 330 or teams hit 330 or continue doing those things, because shit like this goes on that you have zero control over. I can't tell you when a ace or a Friday night guy is going to show up and just shit the bed, and you're banging them all around the ballpark. I can't tell you when that's going to happen.
Correct.
But it happens, right? And so, like, those things you don't have true control over. And I think that's why you take a weekend and or a month, and that's why baseball is played every day, because it is so, you need large numbers. You need large samples to understand who a team is, where they are, and you want to be hot at the right time at the end of the year for you to really be kind of going where you think you can go.
Correct. Couple more.
How would y'all say Jake Brown's been hitting specifically? We have a couple questions about him. One is asking, what does he need to work on to be a cruise-like threat? That's a very high comparison, but what do y'all see from Jake Brown?
Listen, Jake's faced, like, to Jared's point just now, Jake has faced, he's a lefty, he's faced some really good lefties that have been on their game recently, right? I mean, he has A&M through all lefties, and all 3 of those guys were locating, and they're mixing and matching, and they're doing their things. And so for me, I think that he just needs to continue to do what he's doing, because he hit some balls hard. They're on the ground. They ended up being outs. You just got to keep doing that. Keep having quality at bats. Keep putting the ball in play. Keep making these guys work, and keep getting the barrel to it. And at some point, those balls are going to end up becoming base hits.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to ask anybody to be a cruise-like threat, if you will, right? Like, to be a cruise-like threat would basically say we're shooing you in as a top 5 pick almost the day you step on campus. Jake needs to go out and be Jake. He needs to go out and be himself. He needs to not obviously go out and worry about it. And I'm not saying that he is. I'm just saying, like, you got to understand, like, Jake has played well this year. Jake has taken a step forward this year. Jake needs to continue to go. Jake needs to continue to challenge himself to be the best version of himself every day. And I think if he's able to do that, which I think he has that kind of capability, you'll continue to see Jake elevate his game and play better and do more, because Jake is a damn good ball player. And that's all he needs to do is be the best version of Jake.
Yep.
How do y'all think the lineup inconsistencies have been, like, specifically right field battle, Josh Pearson, Ethan Fry, Larson, Jake Brown, all kind of switching games and switching, like, who's in and stuff? How would that affect those guys specifically, and how does that affect LSU?
Well, I think if it was going to affect them, it was going to affect them early in the year, right? And I think that they have all shown, right? Larson has probably gotten the least amount of run out of all those guys, but I think they've all shown that no matter how long they sit or how many games in a row they start, they're always ready and capable and step up to that challenge, right? And I think they've all had their moments, and, you know, I don't think that them being in and out has affected their performance. Obviously, they want to be in there every day, and I think the more he's in there, I think Jake's going to be an everyday guy next year. He'll be, You can put him in the lineup every day as a starter next year, and you're going to see him perform well. But I don't think that that's necessarily affecting the way he's performing.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I meant earlier about getting hot at the end of the year, or like teams being able to drop whatever selfish goals you had going in. You got to imagine every single one of these guys into the year last year, and or the guys that were freshmen coming into this season, when they showed up in the fall, their main goal for themselves was, I need to go win me a spot, right? Now, winning you a spot in your mind means I'm an everyday player. So when you get to the year and now it's not every day, you have to alter and change those goals, quote unquote, if you want, if that's what it is, right? Like if you have to understand that, all right, I'm splitting, I still want to go take this, but when you're not taking it, you can't get down on yourself. So those special teams, they get to this part of the year and you almost throw those personal goals out. And then you start to look at the man across from you that's helped you, that's been there with you, that you've been grinding with, that you've been sweating with. And you say, you know what? Man, I'm going to just play for this dude, man, because, like, if we all come here and we play for each other, we make the most of whatever opportunities are in front of us. And you no longer worry about what it is that I'm doing, where am I? Am I achieving those goals? Am I not? The only thing that matters at that day is we got 9 innings, we got 27 outs. Let's just make sure we have more runs than the other team when those are done.
No doubt. Last one. Make it a good one.
Get a bit of a fun one. Ask Mikey and Mitch from Fonz. Favorite away stadium to play in?
College or professional is a big question.
Answer both.
I think we've talked about this. My favorite in college was I loved Ole Miss. I loved Ole Miss. I loved the energy. I loved them shit talking me in right field. I liked it all. And then my favorite away stadium in professional baseball was Fenway.
Yeah, I would probably tell you my favorite away stadium. I mean, it's a little bit different now because the atmosphere is not going to be the exact same. But as far as the stadium, how it's set up, the backdrop of it, and what it's like when it's rocking, I love playing in South Carolina.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
That was cool, too.
South Carolina's got a good football stadium as well.
They do.
It's small.
Yeah, people don't know this. South Carolina football stadium. So South Carolina and Auburn were two of the first in the conference to legitimately start playing like real music over the speaker during the game. Yeah. I remember we went there that one year and that place was rocking, and they were not very good.
You talked a lot about that.
They were not a great team, right? Like they weren't great, but like that was one of the first places where it was in the SEC for sure too, where like live, real, not live, but like real up-to-date music was being played like through the loudspeakers, and it wasn't just the band. And I think they were kind of, the trendsetters. The trendsetters are trailblazers to like that whole movement, which you kind of basically see everywhere.
You talked about that you mentioned that in the football season this year, on how special South Carolina was as a football venue, which I don't think a lot of people realize. But yeah, they got a couple good stadiums out there for sure. Okay, maybe one more.
Okay,
one more.
I'm gonna edit this one a little bit. Jay needs a pinch hitter in the 8th or the 9th. Could y'all be that guy? Could you give LSU a good at bat right now?
What? Let's go.
Could I give a quality bet? Yeah, no doubt.
I'll give you one.
Now you want me to do that? Let me give you 4 in the game right now. Give me some time, maybe, but you give me in there.
That's why I edited
it. Yeah, you give me one. You give me one at bat right now, and you say that's all you got. I'm gonna lock it in. I'm gonna now. Am I gonna get a hit? I don't know, but I'm gonna make the motherfucker throw some pitches.
Would Jay need to take you out on defense?
No. He would not have to take me out on defense.
Not even in center.
Huh?
You had to go stick in center. Could you go?
I could figure it. I could go get it in center field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same with you, Joe.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Damn, we ain't that damn old.
Yeah. It hasn't been that long ago. It's only been 3 years.
Trying to see a little bit of humility. That's all.
4 years. All right. There was a bunch of good questions. A lot of
I think we got to most of them.
Yeah, we did get to a lot of them. Appreciate y'all throwing in. I know Fonz asked another question, which I do kind of want to touch on. He asked, is taking BP off a machine helpful in any way? I am. I used to be so anti-machine batting practice when I was in college because I was young and dumb and didn't know shit. And then once I got to the back half of my professional career, I loved machine batting practice because it forced me to shorten up. It forced me to stay on top of the ride. And that's all I would do my last year was hit batting practice off the machine.
Man, so it's funny that this gets asked because, like, I don't know, maybe within the last month, I saw a random video, and look, I actually grew up on him. I was always a big fan of him. I loved listening to him like talk the game, and it used to be baseball at night on ESPN when we were coming up, right? If everybody remembers that show. But I heard Harold Reynolds talking about it, and he was like, I don't understand why these guys do it because it doesn't benefit you. And I go, that's what I used to believe until I bought in truly and saying, hey, you want to start getting better, let's start getting comfortable with what is uncomfortable. Because I think a lot of hitters in our age and obviously older, they looked at it as like, it's not realistic, so I'm not going to get out there until you start learning how to put timing mechanisms in using the machine, right? If you're going to wait until the ball's out of the machine as that's when I'm going to start my swing, you'll never get comfortable and you'll never be good against it. And you'll never be able to understand how working with that kind of speed translates to playing in the game. Once you start learning how to actually time that up and you actually start doing intentional work with everything that you're doing on it, I think it's a true game changer. I think it's so helpful to being better. And that's why you see guys starting to use it now. And they started coming up with like these clever ideas of, hey, let's do these like softballs. Now they're going to have more ride and they're going to kind of take off a little bit, but we're going to use these because I want guys to get in here and not have to worry about if I'm going to leave today, obviously if you're using wood with the same wood bat that I came with, or if I'm going to leave today and not have my hands ringing because if I'm not on the barrel, the shit feels terrible. So you actually get to go in there and take real swings without adjusting your swing, without trying to do too much just to be able to cheat to get to stuff. And you start to get a feel for what you need to be able to do. It's a true game changer when you learn how to really use it. And I would encourage anybody to get in there and understand that this, used correctly, can really elevate your game as opposed to hurting your game.
There's a difference between, hey, 5 o'clock BP before the game, feel good BP, and I'm working on some shit like early work stuff. I get it. No BP before the game, like right before the game if you want to be on the field and do whatever. I understand that. But if you are using this and you're working on some stuff, like there's nothing better in my mind on figuring out where your swing has holes in. Like if you're struggling and you're not swinging the bat well, you're not on the barrel, that is a perfect way to do it because not every pitch is going to be right down the middle. And it's not going to be easy to make the cheat adjustments to. Like when you're throwing on a BP thrower throwing some stuff to you, it's easy to kind of cheat and make adjustments and make it feel a false feel. On the machine, you can't do that. And I love it as a training tool. I used to hate it, but I love it as a training tool.
And I think too, like, and that's the other part of it, like that confidence factor that we talked about when you got a really good BP thrower and now you get to see an arm swing and they're able to kind of groove it in a spot, they give you that confidence and you kind of get to see an arm swing. So I'm not saying there's not a place for that as well, but when you use the machine correctly, it really does help, man. It does.
No doubt. I saw that and I wanted to touch on it because I did a 180 in my career. I used to never do it, and then I used to only do it. So
same way.
Yeah. So all right, I appreciate all the questions. We're gonna get to the segments. Obviously, Lloyd's not here, so I'm not gonna put the mistake of the day on you because you weren't prepared for it.
What's the mistake of the day?
Somebody that does something that's just fucks up or something stupid, and it's doesn't have to be sports related. It could be anything. Lloyd has had some wild.
It sounds like Monday might have been mistake of the day.
Oh, we'll take that Monday mistake of the day.
Yeah,
it's okay. And look, you know what you do after mistake of the day? You redeem yourself, and you come back in here and look at you. We went double Zoom. We had Lloyd in here. You've been great. That's coachable. It's coachable. And then the other segment is curtain calls, which is something good. Doesn't have to be in sports. Just could be something feel good. Curtain call. I'll start off with my curtain call because last time I didn't go first. My curtain call got stolen. So I'm going first with my curtain call. My curtain call is to LSU's own Alex Bregman. Just now, about 20 minutes ago, he hit his 200th career home run in the big leagues. 200 is a great milestone in the big leagues. He's obviously got a lot left in the tank. But getting to 200 at this point in his career is no doubt a huge achievement for him. And, people were questioning, like, man, can he do it outside of Houston. Like, oh, well, now he's in Boston with the big wall. I think he's in the perfect spot for him. He's having a great year in his first year in Boston. Anytime you sign a free agent deal, you go to a new spot and you sign a big free agent deal, that first year there's a lot of pressure on you to perform. You see a lot of guys that are really good take a little time to get going. He's hit the ground running, and he had his 200th career home run today. So curtain call to Alex Bregman. That's pretty cool.
Love that. It's a good one. I really don't have one right now. I'm going to be completely honest.
You can piggyback on mine. You can piggyback on mine.
I got one right now. Hold on. Let me pull it up on Twitter right here. Let's see if it'll load. Give me one
Dragon.
second.
Attaboy. Curtain call.
All right, here we go. Javen Coleman, immaculate inning.
There we go.
Top of the ninth in a 9-9 ball game right here.
Immaculate inning. And look, here's a crazy,
strike three
here's
on
a
the
crazy
outside
thing.
corner.
They had
Sherman, Texas
LSU,
native.
two former LSU
Feels
guys
breaking the
today
ball
threw
in
an
there for
immaculate
a
inning.
call
He threw
strike.
one, and Gage
0-1.
jumped through one too.
And Cole Henry.
Swing and a miss on the fastball.
Cole Henry is shoving.
0-2.
7 out of 8.
Swing and a miss for strike three.
Scoreless. Yeah.
How about that?
First pitch.
LSU
Breaking ball in
pitchers
there for a
showing
called
out.
strike.
That's great. All right.
Hey, I did see this. This is completely – no, I'll give you this. I do want to say this.
Okay.
This is so not in season, but I saw this the other day, and I thought this was wild. NFL stat, most rushing touchdowns in the last 10 seasons.
I know what you're going to say.
Derrick Henry's at number 1.
Yep.
Ezekiel Elliott's at number 2. Can you just give me one
I
guess
know
of
the
who you
answer.
think's at number 3
I know
in
the answer.
last 10 seasons?
I know the answer. I'm not going to say it, though. I'm going to let Christian guess. I know the answer.
What is it?
Take a guess.
One more time.
So out of the top 10 running backs, most rushing touchdowns in the last how many years, Jared?
In the last 10 seasons.
In the last
10
decade.
seasons. Rushing touchdowns in the last 10 seasons.
Who has the most rushing
Think about
touchdowns
it,
in the last?
and I'm not really trying to set you up, but like literally think about rushing touchdowns, period, in the last 10 seasons from any position.
Yeah. And so you got, it said Derrick Henry 1. Ezekiel
Derrick Henry's at
Elliott
number
2.
1 with 106.
Who's the third
Ezekiel
one?
Elliott's at number 2 with 74. Can you guess who's at number 3?
Is this a trick question because it's an LSU guy? Or
No, it's not an LSU guy. I'll do that. It's not an LSU guy.
Not an LSU guy.
It is an SEC guy, though.
It's not Saquon. No, it's not Saquon. Shit, is it?
Remember, you got guys. You got the guys like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and all. Like I'm saying, it's not. It doesn't just have to be a running back. Like just think of that in the last 10 seasons.
I'm leaning Cam Newton, but that's too old. Is it a running back?
It is a running back. I'll give you that.
Okay. Shit.
It's crazy.
Kamara?
Who?
Is it Camaro?
No.
Who is it?
Good guess. I mean, great guess. The reason why I'm saying this is because
And he's been retired for how long?
And people forget how good this damn dude was. The guy's Todd Gurley. Hadn't played in 5 years, probably.
Hadn't played in 5 years.
I would have gotten that, but it would have taken me 10 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Falcons.
I kind of want to throw that out there because I don't think he gets his flowers enough in terms of like what he was on the field. He was fucking impressive.
Well, and in fantasy football, it was like he was getting picked number 1 overall for 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row.
No doubt.
No doubt number 1 pick,
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Has
Great.
not played since 2020.
5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy. Great show. Great Wednesday show. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate all the Ask Mikey and Mitch questions. Appreciate you, Christian, pinch hitting, coming in clutch.
Absolutely.
You know, the
Joe.
big time for you. I came in yesterday. He got in the cages, worked out some kinks, got it right, got it ready for game time, and came out today, got a couple knocks here. Appreciate that. Just a regular Matt Stairs coming off the bench. You know what I mean? Just a big pinch hitter with the homer.
Dalton Beck.
Yeah, Dalton Beck, big clutch hit. Appreciate y'all. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can't watch us, but you like listening to us anywhere you get your pods. We'll be back live hopefully on Friday from 1 to 2-ish, working on the other pinch hitter, trying to figure out who else is going to be able to fill that role because Christian cannot on Friday. Potentially.
Yeah, I'd have to think about it.
Yeah, potentially. We'll figure it out. If not, we'll let you know. Hopefully we're going to try to be on here. We appreciate y'all. Please enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. We'll be back whenever we're back. We'll let you know. Love y'all. Peace.